Welcome back to Awesome Possum Hobbies and Games, and today's my favorite day of the week. Yes, it is mail day. I got some TCG player orders in today. Let's see what I got. Another TCG player mail order. This time I sent 2 packets instead of 1. Wonder why? Let's see what's inside. So here they are, all opened up. Let's go ahead and go over them. Flame War Streetwise Operative. It's one of the Transformers. The correct side of the card is Flame War Brash Veteran. It's 1 black, 1 red, 1 colorless. Legendary Artifact Creature Robot. More than meets the eye. You can put it in play for the backside for just a red and a black. And on this side, it's a 3/2. Sacrifice another artifact. Put a +1/+1 counter on Flame War and convert it, activate only as a sorcery. You can pay 1 to discard your hand, put all exiled cards you own with intel counters on them into your hand. And then if you play the More Than Meets the Eye side, becoming a 2/1, Living Metal, Menace Death Touch. It's 2/1. Whenever Flame War deals combat damage to a player, exile that many cards from the top of your library face down, put an intel counter on each of them, and then you get to convert. So he's able to give you some extra draw effects by either discarding your hand and then putting all your exile cards into your hand. And it has to be exile cards with intel counters. So there you go. The next one is Revival Experiment. 1 black, 1 green, 4 colorless sorcery. For each permanent type, return up to 1 card of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield. You lose 3 life. For each card returned this way, exile Revival Experiment. Next card. Leonore Autumn Sovereign. I got this for my Atraxa deck. 1 green, 1 white, 2 colorless. Legendary creature, Human Noble. Coven. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, you get to draw a card. So it's not only is it putting counters on things, but it's also allowing you to draw extra cards during your turn, which is a fantastic addition to a Atraxa deck. Next card is Hour of Reckoning. This one is a version from the Warhammer 40,000 set, and it's got some fantastic Blood Angels fighting a Tyrannid on it. So it's 3 white, 4 colorless. Convoke. Your creatures can help cast this card spell for each creature you tap while you're trying to pay this casting cost of the spell. You pay 1 colorless mana of that mana's color. So it allows either to pay colorless or if you're tapping white creatures to be able to produce that white mana. And destroys all non-token creatures. So this is going in my token deck. Next card's just a foil rewind. Just a good addition to any blue deck. Rewinds 2 blue, 2 colorless, instant, counter target spell. Untap up to 4 lands so you're able to counter another spell before your turn by having that mana available. Netherese Puzzle Ward, 1 blue, 3 colorless. Enchantment. Focus Beam at the beginning of your upkeep, you roll a d4. Scry X, where X is the result, and then whenever you roll a dice, highest natural results, you get to draw a card. So this card allows you to draw cards as well as being able to scry. This is going to go in a deck that's going to have a lot of the scry elf cards from the new Lord of the Rings set. Here's a Borderless Factor Fiction, 1 blue, 3 colorless instant. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library, and opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put 1 into your hand, the other into your graveyard. Now I got 3 copies of Heart of the Explorer, which is a one from Lara Croft. I like the art so much that I decided to buy some extra copies of it for a few different decks I have. Heart of the Explorer is just search for Azanta. Azanta, I can't pronounce that today. 1 blue, 1 colorless, legendary enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you can surveil 1. Then if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you can transform. When you transform it becomes the Lost Valley, otherwise known as the Sunken Ruin. It's a legendary land. Taps produces blue, or you can pay a blue and 2 colorless, tap it, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature or non-land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. And you know what? Yes, even this card being double-sided foil has a little bit of a prinkly effect. It's strange. I got a copy of 3 Visits. Can't have enough copies of these. This is great, uncommon. This one's from the Doctor Who set. 1 green, 1 colorless sorcery. Search your library for a forest card, put it in the battlefield, and then shuffle. So it doesn't have to come into play tapped, which is wonderful. Farseek for a green and 1 colorless. This is one from the new Ravnica set, and it is a foil sorcery. Search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card. Put in your battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. This works great with those new Surveil lands. Got another regular copy as well. I've got a few decks that they want to have copies of those to be able to search for triomes or the Surveil lands. Next card is Containment Grafter. 1 green, 4 colorless creature, Phyrexian Druid. Trample, Toxic 1. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to 1 or more players, proliferate. At the beginning of your end step, if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, draw a card. Then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. It does a lot. It's a great card for 5. Next one is Predatory Sliver. 1 green, 1 colorless, 1/1. Sliver creatures you control get +1/+1. So it's a 2/2 for 2, but it's also making all the rest of your slivers bigger, which goes right in line with Muscle Sliver as well as many other slivers that are out there. It's just being added in my sliver deck. Next card is from the Doctor Who set. 1 black, 2 colorless creature, Alien Horror, 1/1, Shadow and Indestructible. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on this card. So it's a great card, can't be blocked except for creatures with Shadow, and then on top of that, it's going to get bigger. It's going to continually get bigger, and on top of that, in order to be able to block it, you're going to have someone with Shadow, so it's just going to be pretty much unblockable the entire time. This card is Yasmin Khan, 1 red, 3 colorless, legendary creature. It's a human detective for 3/3. Taps, exile top card of your library until the end of your next step. You may play it. It's also a Doctor's Companion. This is one of the best Doctor's Companions out there because it helps you get an extra, it's a sort of a draw phase. It's not putting a card in your hand, but you're able to play another card. Being able to have access to another card is fantastic. Next, another card from Doctor Who set. 1 red, 1 black, 2 colorless, the Beast, Deathless Prince, legendary creature, demon. When you cast a spell, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap it, it gains menace and haste until end of turn, and then when it enters the battlefield, tap with 6 stun counters on it. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to its owner, untap the beast, and you get to draw a card. Not bad. 4 cost, 6/6. It's just, comes into play with 6 stun counters. Next one is from that Lord of the Rings set. It's Assault on Osgiliath. 3 red, X colorless. It's Amass, Orcs X, and then Goblins and Orcs you control gain double strike and haste till end of turn. This is a great late game card to be able to put into a deck that revolves around either tokens or even better, a Goblin deck, or even a deck that revolves around amassing orcs, making those orc armies. Peregrine Took. 1 green, 2 colorless, legendary creature, a halfling citizen. It's a 2/3. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus an additional food are created instead. Sacrifice 3 foods to be able to draw a card. I got this specifically as an upgrade for the Deep Clue Sea commander deck out of Murders at Karlov Manor. Next card's Ring Sight. I got a full version. Excuse me. 1 black, 1 blue, 1 colorless sorcery. The ring tempts you. Search your library for a card that shares a color with a legendary creature you control. Reveal it, and then put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Next one is, I got 4 copies of Lava Brink Floodgates. Yeah, I got 4 copies because I just realized I didn't have any, and it's not a bad card. Especially for red, being able to produce 2 red mana for any spell. And on top of that is at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may put a Doom counter on Lava Brink Floodgates or remove a Doom counter from it. Then if it has 3 or more Doom counters on it, sacrifice it, and when it does 6 damage to each creature. So if you're playing a spell-heavy deck, people will be able to put counters on it to be able to flush the board, or, otherwise it's going to be able to produce 2 red mana. It's not a bad card. I think it's I want to be able to put it in play pretty quick and then have it pop up, especially with a lot of proliferate. Next one's Soulfire Eruption. 3 red, 6 colorless sorcery. Choose any number of target creatures, planeswalkers, or players. For each of them, exile the top card of your library. Then Soulfire Eruption deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to the permanent or player. You may play the exile cards until end of your next turn. Wow. You can do a lot of damage, and on top of that, you're able to play a lot of extra cards. Sign me up. Of course, that 9 casting cost makes it so it's difficult, but if you have a way of cheating in play, it's pretty cool. Next one is a card from the Lord of the Rings set. 1 red, 2 colorless enchantment. Whenever a creature an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, amass Orcs X, where X is that excess damage. Then you can pay a red and 7. You can do 7 damage to target creature, and it's for 8 mana to be able to activate that ability. It's expensive, but if at the end of one of your opponent's turns, or if someone's threatening you with a creature, being able to have that ability in play is never a bad thing. Next was Fiery Inscription. 1 red, 2 colorless is an uncommon from the Lord of the Rings set. Enchantment. And when it comes into play, you get to have the ring tempt you, and then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Fiery Inscription does 2 damage to each opponent. Another card works really well with that Fall of Andros. Again, Arcanum Weaver, 1 white, 1 black, 1 red. It's a 2/3 legendary creature, human wizard. Sacrifice an enchantment for one of each of the red, white, and black, and tap it. You get to return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I got this for my Tom Bombadil Sagas deck. Power Conduit. I already got another one of these for the Tom Bombadil deck. I got another one just in case I need it for another deck. 2 colorless mana artifact. Remove a counter from a permanent you control. Choose 1. Put a charge counter on target artifact. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So it could remove counters. And speaking of Tom Bombadil deck, I got a copy of The Brothers War. 1 red, 3 colorless, 3-chapter saga. Chapter 1. Create 2 tapped Power Stone tokens. Chapter 2. Choose 2 target players until end of turn. Each creature they control attacks the other chosen player each combat if able. And then Chapter 3, The Brothers War deals X damage to any target and X damage to any other target, where X is a number of artifacts you control. It's not a bad card. It's going to do some damage. It's going to make people attack each other is the biggest part of it. And then I got 2 copies of Fall of Gil-galad. I got one for my Tom Bombadil deck, another one for my future deck that's going to rely on scrying. So it's a 3-chapter saga for 1 green, 1 colorless. As the saga enters the battlefield, you get to scry 2, which is great. And then chapter 2, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. And then chapter 3, until end of turn, target creature you control gains. When this creature dies, you get to draw 2 cards. Then creature fights up to one other target creature. It's a good card. It's not fantastic, but it's going to go well in the Tom Bombadil deck. And then on top of that, it's going to go well in the other scrying deck as well. Any extra options to be able to scry, modifying decks, modifying draws is fantastic. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed seeing this video. I enjoyed making it. If you have any questions, please list it in the comments below. And until next time, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Keep them rolling! And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take the time to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to stay updated. Have a great day, and keep them rolling.